Welcome to Strategies Football. In this video, we are going to break down the key plays and strategies that were used in the Green Bay at Buffalo Bills game. This is all going to be presented through the coaches' film, showing what it is that the teams were attempting to do and what actually happened. As they say, the eye in the sky does not lie. And with that in mind, here comes Buffalo Bills hosting the Green Bay Packers. This run-pass option is going to summarize in a microcosm what is going wrong with Green Bay. Here we're going to see a great running action where A.J. Dillon is going to have a ton of lead blockers and space and clearly the one who should get the ball. But instead, Rodgers wants to sit on it to hit a slant that probably would have gained less yardage. The arrogance of Aaron Rodgers is really holding back the Packers. And we watch it, it's actually hurting himself too. So I'm going to show this from the other angle to show how obvious this is that he missed. Watch the guy over the center. There is zero block on him, and this is what happens when you don't look both ways for crossing the street, kid. We're showing this play to show a misconception about how people have a blocking in the NFL. You see the three linemen come up here on a screen pass from that angle. It looks like they all missed their blocks. But the reality is that the NFL, this isn't like college or high school where you drive your block. You touch a guy for a second, and that's basically it. So it's something that all fans need to recognize when we're watching blocking across the league about what it really is. It's a timing game. Get in there at the right point and hope that your back is behind you. This is how detailed orchestrated the NFL is. Please click like and subscribe for more content. Fantasy football's down on Devin Singletary because he doesn't get enough running touchdowns. The reality is that he's a very good running back who just happens to be in a situation with a boulder of a quarterback who likes running the ball in the end zone himself. The simple fact is people don't juke out linebackers like that unless they're incredibly talented and have the ability to get north and south. Josh Allen makes it incredibly difficult to beat the Bills. First, that pass rush the Packers just gave, half the quarterbacks in the league get sacked. Next, right there, of the running quarterbacks, half of them step out of bounds. Only Josh Allen drops his shoulder to try to get in the end zone like this. And the difference between him and Cam Newton, he doesn't slow up when he's scoring a touchdown, so he's not going to get concussed. Josh Allen makes it incredibly difficult to beat the Bills. First, that pass rush the Packers just gave, half the quarterbacks in the league get sacked. Next, right there, of the running quarterbacks, half of them step out of bounds. Only Josh Allen drops his shoulder to try to get in the end zone like this. And the difference between him and Cam Newton, he doesn't slow up when he's scoring a touchdown, so he's not going to get concussed. Josh Allen is the only person on the planet who can make this happen. That's veteran Preston Smith with his hands all over him, and Josh Allen still makes it happen. This is a third down play that the Packers have following letting up the Bills touchdown. And the Packers do a lot of things incredibly wrong, both from a coaching standpoint and then from a player personnel standpoint. So let's break it down. First is that Aaron Jones, who's the receiver here, is essentially set up where the second tight end would be. He's very close to the line of scrimmage. So whenever he gets this ball, he eventually rolls it to the inside, despite the fact that all of his blocking and all of his field leverage is to the outside. So the decision that Aaron Jones makes is going to be flat out incorrect, and that's partially why this play doesn't work. But the greater problem about why this play doesn't work is that you're trying to run a screenplay on 3rd and long. Throw the ball past the sticks. Rodgers is supposedly the greatest downfield passer of all time, so why not use him? The Packers get a good pass rush on this play, but you look at Allen, who just has a sixth sense of where he's at in terms of get the ball downfield, try to get out, don't get sacked. Eventually, Douglas obviously does run him down, but as we see this again, just look at his footwork and his eyes, constantly looking to get the ball downfield to make something happen. He is in his own world right now in terms of no one is at his level. Josh Allen's about to have a man in his face, looked at two different reads, and then put the ball on a dime to Diggs, who has about 1.5 feet of leverage, and that's it. Hey, Packers fans, you remember when your Hall of Fame quarterback used to like football so much that he did this before he hated everything? All year long, the Packers' offensive line has had trouble getting into continuity, and Aaron Rodgers is a part of the problem, and these run-pass options are an example. Yes, we're going to see that Aaron Rodgers gains about 6 yards on his flip out to the outside here, but this time around, I want you to focus on the offensive line, how they're pulling and they have an entire seal. Rodgers doesn't trust anyone than himself, and that's killing the Packers. This is the sweet side of the bittersweet relationship that the Packers are having with Aaron Rodgers. He can do absolutely amazing things on the football field, put balls in places where they shouldn't be. But obviously the bitter side being that it's only when he wants to and things are perfect. Fantasy football was making some of the Bills players be overshadowed or diminished from what they really are. I'm going to highlight Knox right here. I know he hasn't had a lot of touchdowns this year, so people are thinking they're down on him because he's not putting up fantasy points. He does a block right here on a man who's heads up on him, forces him to the inside, and brings him down to a knee. That is raw strength that you don't normally see. And Devin Singletary, because he gets his touchdown stolen away from Allen, does not get the love he should at all. He gets essentially stopped in the hole there and sprints for another 15 yards. This kind of thing is really, really talented, and the Bills have the ability to beat you in so many ways. As each level of talent increases, end around should become less and less effective. This play is a flat-out failure of the Packers, is not really even well successfully drawn up. We're going to draw the key reasons why end arounds are not effective or should not be effective in the NFL. First failure of this play by the Packers, and get ready, there's going to be a couple of them. Our defensive end right here does not go for penetration. Instead, he tries to do a finesse play and try to jump around the tackle like this, allowing 77 to get perfect position and take him out of the play. Second, when this play is actually executed, we are going to have, right here, pause this, we are going to have only 2 Buffalo blockers versus 4 Packers on the left side of the field. Anytime you have 2 more defenders than blockers, it needs to be a play and it needs to be made amazingly. But the reason this one fails is right here. We get our feet stopping, and anytime a defender stops his feet right there, he's going to lose. You need to attack in football. Does that mean sometimes you're going to get gashed and go over the top? Yes, but that's why you have a friend named as safety over the top, and as the name implies, he will protect you because he is a safety. So watching this through, this is not, it's a successful play because it works. It's not a well-made play. This is an abundant failure of the Green Bay Packers. Being an offensive lineman in the NFL has a ton of disadvantages, but one that is never really discussed is offensive linemen play every snap of every day, and the defensive front can swap out as many times as you want. Recognizing that advantage, the Buffalo front office has got themselves 8 solid pass rushers that they rotate in and out of games continuously. And that constant pressure that goes on any offensive line really wears down on them as the game goes on. And there's nothing you can do once your offensive line is worn down against a fresh defensive front. People often have debates about could a quarterback have played in a different era in the NFL, and it's normally about guys from the past playing today, like how Dan Marino would rip apart this league. But Josh Allen's one of the few who would have played back in the day. This is like 1970s football. He gets crushed as he throws it, and he releases this ball from his own 10, and it's caught on the other 30. This guy is strong, both in arm, strength, and mentally. He is the real deal, and I hope that he wins himself a couple of rings. Life is all about how you react to what just happened. The Packers just had a 60-yard kick return called back because of penalty. That was the next play. And as we look at this play being broken down, there's nothing really quick or flashy about the Bills' pass rush. It is just working hard and coming at you. That's not breaking the speed of light like TJ Watt. That's just being dedicated and coming hard. The Bills have a very complete defense, front end to back end, with their coverage. Green Bay's run blocking is really good on straight called runs. And what we're going to see right here is pausing it right here at the moment of receiving the ball. We're seeing that the backside guard is coming to kick out the DN here from a side. The strong side tackle who was here is going to get the backside linebacker, which will create a nice little seam here. And we got a pulling tight end who just needs to chip right here on Milano to make sure that there's a lane. It's a beautifully drawn up play. And this is when the coaching staff of the Packers kind of realized we're not going to do RPOs and let Rodgers keep throwing during them. We're going to call some straight runs. And when they did that, the offense of the Packers really opened up. By forcing Rodgers to hand the ball off, the team became better. That's a fact. The Packers taking the RPOs out of Rodgers' hands really did open up their offense. Their line is now legally allowed to push people downfield, and their zone plays started teeing off. We see zone right here, and I want you to watch the center, how far he gets downfield, pushing number 71 there. Dillon breaks a tackle in the backfield because zone never blocks the edges, but when you got someone talented as Dillon, it can make it work very well. What also works very well is clicking like and subscribe. We hope you're enjoying our content. And leave us a comment if there's a specific game you want us to do in the future. On 2nd and 10, the Packers are going to run cover 3 with Nixon being the deep center fielder right here. And then having 3 defenders cover the underneath bubble. And what the Bills are going to run is a great play to counter that. We're going to have Stefon Diggs right here come out, do a little stutter step, and then cut to the inside. And when he does that, both the center underneath defender is going to jump and the outside under defender is going to jump, trying to pick off this route. Now, knowing that that's what this play was designed to do, what Buffalo does is really remarkable. They send Davis up on a deep end and they throw an over-the-top run. And what the over-the-top run requires is this defender right here sticks with the man who is in his third and keeps running with him. The true failure of this play right here will be on Nixon when he does not recognize that someone is entering into his zone until way too late. And this is a beautifully drawn up play. The Packers get over ambitious, way too soft coverage over the top, and you see Nixon there at the top of the route. That's a 20-yard gap failure. So as we watch this play through Nixon's eyes, as soon as someone cuts the inside, he's got to come much quicker. He's 2 seconds late, and 2 seconds late against the Buffalo Bills equals a 40-yard. At this point in the game, Josh Allen has clearly been the better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers today. But that doesn't mean that the laws of the NFL go away. You never should throw off your back foot across your body while scrambling to the sideline. One thing I do like is how the Packers, after they get this interception, which again, could have gone no other way. There's no quarterback in the history of the world that's getting this. Not even Brett Favre. But I do love how after the interception, he just pitches it to his boy and try to have something fun happen. We hope you're getting fun things happening by clicking like and subscribe. This is the play immediately following the Josh Allen interception. And as we said before, it's all about how do you react to things in life. And the Bills defense reacts immediately every chance they can. Putting this ball in the air and going for the interception, this is the thing that only a couple teams get a year, and when they get this kind of roll going, they normally end up playing in February. Green Bay is going to be running a cover 3 look with a zone blitz as well. So the 3 that are going to be the deep are those 3 there. This corner will have the low quadrant. This defensive end will have the middle center. This linebacker will roll over to have this center. And the safety will have this low over here. The other 4 are all blitzing an overload blitz to the right. So while there's a lot of images on the screen there, what Green Bay is taught to do is to make sure that people cannot throw into the blitz. So what they're doing is they're leaving their safety essentially in a creeper position to invite a throw into this quadrant on the receiver, knowing that Diggs is all the way over here. With Diggs being their number 1 and Gabe Davis being their vertical threat, they're confident that Allen will throw it into the blitz, which is what most quarterbacks do, and that's what you're taught to do. However, in this play, it is not what Josh Allen does. What Green Bay has going here is the Gabe Davis over the top, which is kind of predictable for the Buffalo offense. Diggs doing a deep out route right there. A line of scrimmage bailout down here on the bottom. And then we're going to have a deep comeback and a crosser. So where we're ultimately going to want to focus, the receiver that's going to get the ball is right here. And the reason he's going to get the ball is because Josh Allen is smart enough to realize before this play starts where the defense wants him to throw the ball. And instead he targets the defensive end who comes up and cheats to try to make the tackle on him. Josh Allen diagnosed that play in the same way that Tom Brady would, but his mind doesn't get the same kind of credit because he uses his legs to get around. This is also the kind of thing that Patrick Mahomes does and also doesn't get credit for it, but it's a remarkable skill set out of your quarterback to know what the defense wants you to do and to attack their vulnerabilities. Because every time the defense does something in one favor, if they overload it, they're doing a weakness in the other, and this is how you can exploit it. Josh Allen, just absolutely perfecto, and we hope that you're enjoying our content. If you like it, subscribe and become a team player. I'm starting the still shot pre-snap. We're starting still shot pre-snap on Aaron Rodgers on the elbow touch to the right. And this is showing for two reasons. First is that the defense of Buffalo is already keyed. If you watch Johnson right here, number 4, pointing out to his corners that this is going to be a 3-step drop to the side. But more importantly, this is the kind of things that he used to do with Devontae Adams that feel safe. And if Doubs is becoming that guy, there's confidence that Green Bay might be able to get something moving in the future. In this play, the Packers do something that they've only done once the entire game, and it makes me wonder why they didn't do it more. The offensive line was their concern coming into it. They roll Rodgers out, give him a ton of time, then even the no-name receivers like Toure can get open. Rodgers can put this ball anywhere on the field. He has that kind of arm strength. He just is worried about getting hit. So you give him the rollout, no one can cover that long, let alone that deep. It should be something that's more integral to the Green Bay's offense, and the fact that the Packers are not doing it is perplexing about why you wouldn't roll him out, give him more time to do his Aaron Rodgers activities. The Bills are up midway through the fourth quarter, and they execute a play here that is not just a run-of-the-mill, hope to get 3 yards, kill the clock. This play has a ton of intricacies that we're going to walk you through here. First, before we even start, we have a double overloaded side with 2 tight ends to the left. That is putting the defensive interior of Green Bay off shift to the left, as you see over center, over outside guard in the A gaps and B gaps respectively. When the second tight end pulls across, it becomes a balanced front. But the 2 interior D linemen of the Packers do not readjust. However, the defensive end does flip to the outside, going from the B gap to the C gap. The result of this opens up a lane that eventually was where the ball goes through right here with the C gap. The other thing that I want to highlight with this that is just amazing is 42, the fullback, does a stutter step to the left like the play is going there before cutting through the hole. He does that for 2 reasons. The first is that the center will be pulling through the hole here first to try to cut off the middle linebacker, which he ultimately does. And this stutter step from the fullback allows the center time to get through the hole, so effectively you don't have a traffic jam. But the other part is the failure that we're going to watch with this outside linebacker who could run this play down, actually does a stutter step and stops his feet instead of catching Singletary in the backfield. When you combine all of these elements, this goes from a routine running play that, no one really needs to learn how to draw up, to a 10-yard masterpiece that ends up getting you keeping the ball and just dominating a football game. This is an absolutely great play, and they are 1 shoestring tackle away from this being a touchdown and the game being completely over. The Bills don't run the ball a lot, but when they do it very, very well. Aaron Rodgers is not accustomed to garbage time, and it shows because when most quarterbacks are in garbage time, they just force it to one guy over and over again until they come back into the game. Rodgers spread it around like crazy. In this particular play, going deep to Amari Rodgers, who most people didn't even know was on the roster. In this game, we really saw the tale of 2 different quarterbacks of where they're at. Josh Allen on being an ascending superstar, and Rodgers in a weird funk. Is this the beginning of the end, or is this just Rodgers being all upset at the world and taking it out and resulting in bad play? It's hard to say. But what was evident to say was Green Bay was a vastly better team when they took the ball out of Rodgers' hands. And obviously there's a huge reluctancy to do that. The last coach got fired by doing that. And The other element was Green Bay's defense did not look like it was full of first and second rounders, which it is. And there's some serious problems going on that side of the ball. And until you rectify controlling the ball by running it and being able to stop the other team, I mean, that's a recipe for a bad team all day, every day. And the Bills are the best at exploiting bad things in football. Josh Allen can make every single throw on the field, just as Rodgers can, but Allen doesn't care about the pain. I mean, he's dropping his shoulders, he's hitting people. And they're handing the ball off, and they're doing pulls and double teams. What the Bills' running game showed when they actually did run it was amazing. And the difference between what they do and Kansas City does is they don't stop running to go pass happy. They only really stop running because they're already in the end zone. And that's a giant difference. I believe it's two teams going incredibly different directions. This was my prediction for being the Super Bowl. Now I think it's Buffalo, and Green Bay is not even going to make the playoffs. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please leave us a comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know if there's a future game that you would like me to do for the strategies of football. And we'll be with you next time.